Hey everyone, how's it going? It has been a long time since I have come on and made a video for a lot of different reasons, right? Just the healing process in general, being tired, emotionally wrung out. And then in the midst of all of that, I started a new job, so things have been a little crazy. But on Monday, it'll be 5 months since my surgery. 5 fucking months. And it's a long time. And as of a week ago, my wounds have finally all healed. Yay! Um, and well, with the exception of the hole in one of the holes in my stomach is still open. That little fucker won't close. But it's been a long road. It's been a really, really long road. When I started this journey, I knew that it would be long. I knew that it had the potential to be more complicated than what it already was or is, but I never saw it taking this long, right? So here we are, 20 weeks out, and I wanted to just give an update on kind of where all the things are. So let's start with wound care. So my wounds finally closed. I saw my surgeon a week ago on Saturday, and all the spots on my breasts are finally closed. The skin looks really, really good. Scarred, pink, but really, really good. And my abdominal line looks really good. The big hole that I had is a little jacked up. I don't know how else to say it. It did seal up and heal over, which is great, but it's a little concave and it's got some scar tissue around it. And then the other little hole that opened up that for the freaking life of me, we cannot seem to get closed. He said to not worry about it. It looks good. It's not infected. It just is what it is. Right now, it's taking its very own long, sweet time to heal. But if it's not closed by the time I have my second surgery, then he will take care of it then because my second surgery is scheduled. So, which is my revision surgery. So that'll be in November 21st, right before Thanksgiving. So that's fun. But sorry, I'm like hopping around here. Um, but I'm so excited about that surgery. We will be doing a lot in that surgery. So much smaller surgery, but a lot to get accomplished. So let me kind of talk through what that looks like. So the way that I'm going to lean back here, the way that my breasts were scarred from the blisters was kind of in this pyramid, right? So what they'll be doing is, and because I lost both my nipples, we'll be doing nipple reconstruction. So he will reconstruct the nipples and then take the damaged tissue out in sort of this pyramid and then pull it all back together in a single line. So it's the same kind of cut that they do for giving a breast lift and when they do a breast reduction. Um, and it'll tighten them up and it'll kind of pull the boobs up a little bit more or the foobs. So that's great. And that will remove the flap that I have from underneath as well and clean up two spots on that scar line as well. So that's great. So I'll get new nipples, a slight lift, and then the scar reduction underneath. They will also, you can't really tell on here, but I have a lot of sort of divots in my chest because the tissue, when they removed all my breast tissue actually comes up to your clavicle. So there's like these pockets here, right? So part of the fat grafting will be to fill all of that back in, and we hope that it sticks. Otherwise, I'll go through sort of another fat grafting revision later on. I have sort of these weird pocket lines. I don't know if you can see, but like here and on this side as well, we'll be revising that. So, and what that is they'll actually do a little bit of lipo there, but then they will actually fill it back in with tissue so that, with fat so that it's even. So we'll be doing that. We're going to remove the dog ears. So along the end of your abdominal incision line, when you heal, you sometimes get these little flaps that kind of pooch out. So those are called dog ears. So I have that. One really pronounced on the side that I had my hip drain in for far too long. But that will be removed. Then he will revise the scar. He'll actually bring the scar a little bit lower than what it is today and remove the sort of the scar tissue spot where that bigger hole opened. And then he will lipo my Ken doll because unfortunately I did wind up with that. It's not bad, but still that bad boy needs to be lipoed. So he'll do that and then he will lipo. I have a bulge in my stomach, which I was really concerned about for a while and thought that it was a hernia, but turns out just given the way that the tissue was moved around, I have a pocket of fat. So that will all get lipoed away, which is great. So they'll lipo sort of the rest of my stomach area where these pockets are, and then my hips. And all of that fat that they remove will be used to fill in my breasts, fill in the top of my chest. So that's great. So that is all happening on November 21st. And I am super, super excited about that because it's been a long road. It's been a really, really long road. Um, and so kind of going back, sorry, I'm kind of jumping around. Um, Going back to talking about the wound care and my absence, right? So I really wanted to document so much of this journey. I kind of wanted to be one of those people that was like, hey, like, here's what's going on. And while I feel like I did that to some degree, I just couldn't do it as often as I wanted because wound care is a lot. It's a bitch. And when you're doing it every day and you're exhausted every day and you're looking at your body, and as much as I know I did it for the right reasons, I'm super happy with my choice, I wouldn't do anything different. Like looking at your body every day and the scars that you have, and especially if you're like me and you have like wounds, and then the wounds leave, like my breasts don't look great. Like they look good in clothes, but they don't look good out of clothes, right? Like, so that weighs on you a lot, right? Because you want to feel good. You want to feel good in your skin. You want to feel like you look pretty. You want to be appealing to your partner, and I didn't and I don't, and that's really, really hard. So there's a mental aspect of this that was a lot harder than I anticipated. And it just kind of took me by surprise, if you will. So I wasn't able to kind of document as much as I want, but I do want to be open with everybody about what that experience was like for me. And then obviously, if anybody has any questions, I'm an open book. So just, comment on the video and I'm happy to get back to you and kind of share what that was like. And even today, so today was spectacular. I got to go to yoga for the first time in 5 months, and it was glorious and hard and almost made me cry because I was so happy to be back, to get the headspace, to be healthy enough to do this thing that I love so much. Um, excuse me, but also because there was a part of me that was, I needed to sort of see myself in a different light. I needed to see myself as kind of healed. I needed to be prepared for being in a locker room with women and anybody else other than my partner and a few close friends who have seen the mess that is my body right now, right? See the damage on my breasts and the scars, to see my abdominal scar. And it's not like any of that isn't going to be seen if I'm in a bikini on the beach, but I'm not in a fucking bikini on the beach, you know what I mean? All prettied up. So this hasn't been fixed yet. So there was a lot of emotional like churning happening in my brain and in my body as I went to class, but it was amazing. Now, I couldn't stay for the whole class because I can't yet do I can't yet do some of the floor exercises because they're really, not only are they core focused, but there's a chunk of that series, because I do the Bikram series, that I have to be on my stomach, and I can't yet. I can be on my stomach if I'm in bed or if I'm on a soft surface, but on the hard floor, like these, excuse me, these bad boys aren't ready for that yet. So I have to figure out how to manage that going forward, because in order for me to want to, be in class and kind of continue, I'm going to have to figure that out. So that might mean bringing a towel to class so that I can roll it up and put it underneath the bottom of my breast line, so that my boobs have some space to rest. So we'll have to play with that and figure out what that looks like. But yoga was amazing. So, and I need to be in a place where I can get back to that, because, like I said at the beginning of the video, I am also back to work, which was a wonderful, wonderful surprise. I had a really good opportunity come my way, and thanks to a good friend of mine that I worked with at my previous company, we've been talking on and off for a year, and it just finally kind of all came to fruition. And it's great. Love the company, love the job, like all of that is great, but it sort of happened fast and furious. So for the last 3 weeks, I've been back to work as well. And so that's also kind of hindered what I'm doing, because I haven't worked in a few years. And while I was consulting on the side, right, like I wasn't at a full-time schedule. So now, kind of still healing and dealing with all the things, it takes a long time for your body to recover, but that, and then going back to working full time. And I'm crossing time zones with my job right now. So I need to be on IST time, which is India time, as well as some European time zones. So I'm all over the map right now with, kind of getting back to work, getting into the swing of things, really long days, and trying to find time to take care of me and also get the sleep I need. Because the one thing that I need to prioritize right now, above all else, exercise, anything, is diet and sleep, right? So that's kind of what I've been focusing on. So everything else has been sort of put to the wayside, if you will. I need a support. So with that, there's just been a lot, right? It's been a lot since my last video. Um, but again, I really do feel like I want to share this journey, because in the last few weeks, as I've been reading about women who are getting their revision, kind of getting myself prepped for that process, kind of dealing with the last part of wound care, like, are these fucking wounds ever going to close? Like, how am I going to feel? Like, how do people feel like with the scars that they have, like when it goes sideways, right? And a couple things really came up for me. So first and foremost was, I feel really, really, really lucky that A, I got to have this surgery, B, that my wounds are what they are, and it wasn't anything worse. There are women who have gone through this who have lost the flap, one or both, right? Imagine going through all of this surgery for 8, 9, 10, 12 hours, and then having the flap fail, and then having to go to implants, which you didn't want to do in the first place, because that's why you did this surgery, right? So I feel really lucky that my complications weren't worse than what they are, right? So to start there, right? I had to find some gratitude in my pity party about where I am, right? And that's not to take away from the fact that this shit is difficult, right? There is a self-image thing that's really fucking hard, right? So I already struggle with body issues, and to look in the mirror and be like, man, like my boobs don't look good. My stomach doesn't look good. Stomach is flat though, but it doesn't look good, right? So, and the scars are like really red and really pink right now. And so they really stand out, right? It's just hard. It is just hard. So I needed to find some space and grace around accepting that this is me, that there's a certain level of this that my surgeon can fix, and that it may never be super clean, right? So, but that doesn't take away from who I am, and so I have to find a way to be accepting of that, right? And accept my scars, right? And the reason behind why I did what I did. And the other part of that is like really having some open and vulnerable conversations with my partner, which never had to do before. I cried a lot because it's hard to tell somebody I don't feel pretty. And I don't want you to not think that I'm pretty. I want to be wanted by you, right? When you're in a relationship with somebody you love, like that's a big deal. It's a big deal to want to be wanted, to feel sexy, to feel like you're beautiful to that person. And I just wasn't. And so, and I got to a place where I felt like I was kind of hiding from him. And like this is the man who through my surgery in the beginning was like slathering up my boobies with, the medication because I couldn't do it. Like he's seen it all, like like the super ugly and everything. And he's like stood by me like I like just unbelievable rock and love of a man. And but it was really hard to go to him and have that conversation, to say all of these things and be really, really exposed. And I'm so grateful for him and his love and how he just kind of looked at me and he's like, I hear what you're saying and I'm sorry that you're going through that, but I love you. I don't see your scars. I see you. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, I just bawled like a baby because, like, he just loved me. He just saw me. And I was so in my head about all of this. Um, and it was just great. It was just great, but it was really hard. It was really hard. And again, I say this all the time, but I'm really grateful. I'm grateful for him and to have a partner and to be able to stand in my own space and have those conversations. So, so the emotional side of this really kind of rocked me. And so I needed to just kind of take a step back. And also because it's vulnerable. Sometimes I don't know how to talk about things, right? And I'm a, I'm a talker. So when I'm stumped and don't know how to talk about something, like that's kind of like really strange to me. And also, I want to make sure that when I am coming on here and talking to you guys, that I feel like I'm articulate and giving you a message around what the journey was and not just being generic or scripted or like that. I don't want that, right? Like I want to be as authentic and real with you guys as I can be because I think that this is really fucking important, right? Like being a previvor is a gift, right? It is a gift. And I want people to know who go down this road that it could be really, really easy for you and you could have no issues. You could have worse issues than me, or you could wind up somewhere in the middle like I was, right? But that you have choice. And there's parts of the journey that are really fucking rough. And there are parts of the journey that you really celebrate. And like when you get towards the end or like to the phase where I am, and it's like, finally things have settled and you feel good and like you feel like you're on to the next place. Like it's a really beautiful spot to be. So, um, yeah, so I'm just here to kind of give that message and kind of share everything that's been going on for the last few months. So, um, that's where we are. So we're 20 weeks out as of Monday and revision surgery in November. So I've got about 2 months before my revision surgery. So we'll be back on sort of the protocol that I was doing prior to doing this surgery. And so that is sticking with 100 grams of protein a day, 20 to 40 milligrams of collagen a day, fiber, vitamin B, vitamin C, zinc, um, to really help support and fuel my body in the right way. Now, the good news is that the second surgery is only about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. And it's in and out. I won't be in the hospital. I'll come home in the afternoon. And then it's about a 2 week recovery. He said the first week will probably be a little bit rough. Most people say that the first 3 days after all the lipo and the revisions is pretty rough, and it's a different kind of pain than what you experience with when you have the DIEP flap. So hopefully it'll be a much smoother situation. But I'm looking forward to sort of getting on the other side of that one. I'm super excited. Um, so that's where we are. So I don't know. Now I feel like I'm rambling. So I'm gonna leave it here. Suffice to say that things are great. I feel good. I feel like I'm getting kind of back to me. And I'm really excited to get the second surgery done. And hopefully, I'm going to be able to do a couple more videos around just kind of recapping the journey overall. I think it's really important to kind of talk through, I was looking back at it like week by week, kind of what was going on for me. And I want to share that because I feel like that's sort of the next important message as you're kind of on this long road, right? So anyway, that's all from me. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Thanks for coming along for the ride. And if you have any questions or comments, please go ahead and drop them below and I will get back to you. Thanks so much. Bye.